What's up, guys? It's Chris.
And Keith at Purple Tiki Hermits.
And today we're going to talk about heating. Now, before we get into what you should use, let's talk about what you shouldn't use.
Well, heating lamps. It's number one, the wrong type of heat, and number two, the wrong type of light.
All right, so
I don't necessarily know why.
Well, I do. So that's why we work well together as a team.
Yep.
It's the wrong type of heat. It's a dry heat, guys. It's made for the reptiles. It's not made to create humidity.
No.
So in fact, what it will do is it will diminish your levels of humidity, which you need for your hermit crabs to breathe properly. So while we're talking about heating, humidity is a factor in heating as well. And it's the wrong type of light, guys. Your crabs will benefit from a full spectrum light, not just red or blue.
Unfortunately, ours is off.
Right, but it's a full spectrum light. If you guys have any questions about the lighting that we use, you can always hit us up at Purple Tiki Hermit Crabs on Facebook, and I'd be glad to share the link to the lights we have. Excuse me. Why don't you tell them a little bit about the heat pads we use?
Like the type that we use? Okay, so we use Ultratherm heating pads from Bean Farm, 1 or 2 inches above the substrate.
And what those are, guys, it's an uninsulated heating pad. It provides a very good and steady, consistent amount of heat. With those pads, you have, like the Ultratherm, you have uninsulated, and some of the other ones that you may see are insulated. A lot of the brands that you'll get off of Amazon, for instance, I know that's a place that we all turn for a deal. If they're wrapped in like a rubber type of mat, then they're insulated. With insulated pads, you do not want to cover them because that has a risk of fire. But with the uninsulated pads, you can insulate. I would recommend Reflectix tape and Reflectix rollout insulation, the silver stuff. Looks like bubble wrap with a silver cover on it, really.
Yeah.
But honestly, it'll help you push that heat from your heating pad into your tank, and there's no risk being that it's made to do that. So Reflectix is the way to go for that stuff. And again, if you need to be reminded of that or whatever, you can hit us up through that Facebook page. Now, Keith, how does it work?
So it has a certain amount of voltage to reduce heat, and thermostats actually help with that, which I would rather get into later rather than cram it all into this now. And it puts heat in it, like, I don't know the word, but it goes through the glass into the tank to keep it heated at 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know the Celsius for that.
Okay, so we want our tank to be between 75 and 85, right?
Fahrenheit.
And when we use a thermostat, which we'll talk about next, how does that thermostat know when to turn on and off?
So it has this temperature probe that goes into the tank. If you could scoot your shoulder a little bit, maybe you can see that white stick that comes out with the black little cord. We put that in the tank and it displays it on the thermostat, and once it gets to a certain temperature, it'll turn off. But once it gets cold enough, well, I say cold as in like not warm enough, then it'll turn back on, and it'll keep going through this cycle loop while the tank gets used to having that specific amount of heat. Sorry, the AC just turned on and it just distracted me.
So with the thermostat, it basically acts as an on-off switch.
Yeah,
And
but you don't have to. It's an automatic.
So why don't you talk to them about what the pad will do for heat if it doesn't have a thermostat? So let's say, for instance, that we'll use the number 95 degrees.
We always use that one.
All right, we'll do it again then.
Yeah.
Brain fart?
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Or
So
I
basically,
just genuinely don't know.
depending on the wattage of your heat pad, it'll reach a certain temperature as its peak temperature. For the sake of this discussion, we'll use 95 degrees. So basically, without a thermostat, if we plug that heating pad in, it'll constantly read at 95 degrees. which obviously is too hot for your crabs. So by using the thermostat, what we're doing is we're adding an interrupt switch. It basically turns the pad on and off when that temperature probe reads the temperature that we've set on the thermostat. Very, very similar to the way that your house thermostat works for heat or central air. It'll get to a degree or two above that temperature, it'll shut right off. And then when it cools down to a degree or two below it, it'll turn back on. And so it keeps that constant level of heat. And it's fairly accurate within a degree or so, as long as you set it up right. Now with the thermostat probe, you want to set that up towards the center of your tank. And I know that all of these thermostats, they come with these little directions and a suction cup to suction cup the thermostat probe to the back glass of your tank, opposite of the heating pad, but we don't want to do that.
Yeah, because then it might get too hot and, well, like too cold, too cool, and we wouldn't notice it.
Right, so being that close to the heating pad, it's getting a false reading off of that back glass. So that's why he was saying, if you see the piece of plastic that we have in this tank, that brings it off of the back glass and lets it hang down towards the center of the tank. Now, that gives a more accurate reading. You want to place that very, very close in proximity to your thermometer hydrometer that's in your tank, so that those two readings are fairly close together. That way you get an accurate reading, or an accurate enough reading when you're looking at either of them as far as the temperature in the tank.
Don't mind my hood.
Now that we've talked about the thermostat without introducing the thermostat, heat and humidity. What's the importance of heat and humidity to our crabs?
So the humidity, like, the hermit crabs actually have modified gills, and they need a certain moisture content for them to be satisfied and to breathe. And the heat helps regulate it, and I don't really know how.
So the heat helps to regulate the humidity and the moisture level in the air, and everything starts to work together in a bioactive type of way within your enclosure. We'll get more into humidity when we get into the waters and so forth in a future video. But we wanted to give you an idea. Now the heat is obviously because they come from a tropical climate, so we want to maintain that for them in their new enclosure in your house. So even though the air conditioner just turned on, that doesn't affect their enclosure behind us. Their enclosure is still going to be around 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's it. As far as heat goes, let's talk about the key points. We got the heat pad is what?
Ultratherm from Bean Farm.
An Ultratherm from Bean Farm. What should we be using with it?
Thermostat.
Can we insulate it?
If it is not insulated, then yes.
Okay, and the Ultratherm is not insulated, so we can insulate that one.
Yeah. And the insulated ones, though, if you insulate it, it won't will, but it has a chance to cause a fire. Where are you looking?
Nowhere.
And I'm looking out the window. So
Something
windy.
caught my eye out the window. So,
yeah, it's so windy.
We're getting a storm right now, guys, so that's why we're commenting on the weather.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
guys, that's basically it.
This is a short video.
Heat's really simple, and as important as it is, there's not much to it. As long as you do it right, it will do right by the crabs, and then you'll be all set to go. So that's heat, guys. We'll talk about humidity in a later video. But for now, I'm Chris.
And I'm Keith. And we're out.